All right, let's continue our great interception debate study balls that I've been doing every week, trying to pick guys that have thrown multiple interceptions so we can break it down. So a lot of talk about Brock Purdy last night in the interception. So let's dive into it and take a look. Okay, so this first one is simply going to be just a kind of a two-man route. So it's going to be kind of a post, kind of sometimes what I call a pepper post. So it's a post that kind of goes to the back pylon. So you got a big in on the other side. So if there's a safety that's over in this position and he jumps down and jumps the in, you can try that pepper post up over the top of him. So that's kind of what this concept is right here. All right, so you see there's the pepper post and it clears everything out. I mean, you see the amount of space that's here. The read is 100% correct right here. They run with the pepper post. I don't have that. I've got the big window for the big in. I got the huge, huge opportunity right here for a big play. All of that stuff is good. Okay, so what happens on the interception? Okay, this interception is really just, and my biggest thing with some of these is being able to let the ball go early and anticipate. That to me is such a huge part of throwing in routes, because otherwise you have to be 100% perfect on your throw. If you can let it go coming out of the break, now as your guy turns, the cornerback isn't chasing, okay? And what I mean by chasing, so right here, okay? If the ball's not on the way already, you see this DB gets the ability to turn on the jets and chase the in route for a number of steps here, which gives them the ability to play some catch up and use his speed to come make a play. If this ball's already in the air and he hasn't had the opportunity to really plant and drive and really turn the speed on, I don't think this is an interception. But when you throw it late, and if you're not perfect, so this ball is going to be a little bit behind, okay? A little bit behind. Now, the other part of anticipating is I can't always lead it. We never want to, I shouldn't say never, because different teams teach it different ways. But to me, when I threw a big in route, I wanted to throw it 2 or 3 yards inside the numbers. So I wanted to anticipate and let this ball go. And why do I want that? Because I don't want anybody over here to be able to make a play. Never wanted to hit this any further than the hash for sure. But I wanted to throw it out there by the number so we keep all these bodies, because there's oftentimes all these bodies in here, in the middle of the field, and of course anybody on the backside from a high position. But we want to keep it to that side of the field so I don't have to worry about anything that's happening on the backside, and I can let it go. So you see, this ball's almost to the middle of the field. Okay, so you're going to see this guy start to get involved, and obviously we're going to see one later where the backside guy gets involved. But to me, this is as much about throwing it late as it is anything. It's not a horrible throw. Like, if that DB is not there, this is a completion, right? But his receiver has to slow down just a little bit on this, okay? There's another thing that we always talk about. And again, I'm not putting this on the receiver, so don't everybody go crazy here and go, oh my gosh, he's blaming the receiver on. I'm not blaming the receiver. I'm talking about details and why details are so important. I had one of the best receivers in the National Football League ever, history, in Torrey Holt. And Torrey Holt was the best receiver, and I had great receivers, and I'm not saying the other guys didn't do this, but he was the best receiver that I played with to staying friendly to the quarterback. Kurt, teach me. What does being friendly to the quarterback mean? It means, okay, when we were breaking on what we call a speed cut, okay, so that's an in, and instead of breaking down and trying to come flat, a speed cut was we were going to try to run through it, okay, run through it. And we would always tell our guys, you get 2 yards to run through the speed cut. So if you start this break, okay, let's just say Jennings here is starting this break at the 25-yard line. We would say you get to the 27-yard line to turn that corner. Okay, so once you kind of put that outside foot in the ground and turn the corner, we're going to give you 2 yards to be able to make that corner. So it was something that we worked on, was being really tight on the top, okay? And then being friendly was, so once you turn the corner, now we want you to start working back to the quarterback. Even if it's ever so slightly, we want you to stay friendly to the quarterback. So we didn't want you to fade up the field, because when you fade up the field, that leaves an avenue for the DB to undercut you. So we worked so much on staying flat, right? That 2-yard tight turn, and then staying flat or coming back to the quarterback to be able to cut off the DB from the outside. Okay, so again, we can, okay, maybe right there is where Jennings starts to hit this. So maybe right at the 25, okay? And then look where he goes, okay? So again, we can fudge that a little bit, okay? But that's kind of where I see the outside foot, okay? Is right there. Maybe we'll even say the 26-yard line, okay? And then you're going to see, look at all the ground here, okay? So he's going to catch this, okay? So we'll say about 5 yards, okay? 5 yards. That's a 5-yard turn where the DB stays flatter. He stays flatter, and now he's going to be able to drive and undercut this throw, okay? Because of that big turn. Again, if we're able to stay tight and turn here, okay, and this guy's still got to respect us going up the field, that if we can stay tight, we might not ever open up the window. He's going to have to come through us to get the football. We fall up the field a little bit. Now he's got the ability to undercut it. We're a little bit late on the throw. We're a little bit behind on the throw. And this is what happens, okay? And again, I know it's all on the quarterback. I get it. I understand. But these are details that we worked on because there's really good players in the NFL. And if we give them any kind of an advantage, throw the ball a little bit late, don't anticipate, throw it a little bit short, fall up the field on this turn, this is what happens. They make plays on the football and turn the football over the other direction. Okay, this second one. All right, the second interception is going to be off a double post combination. Okay, so we're going to come and run a post or an over right here, and we're going to get a middle close defense, cover 3 defense. Okay, so great. We get this. We're going to read this middle safety. If we get this middle safety to grab the inside post, then we're going to throw it up over the top to this outside post. All right, so this is what we're going to get. And you see, read the middle safety, boom, right there. Turns his hips. Once he turns his hips, game over. I am throwing it out in front of us. Okay, so first aspect of it is we get pressure. So Brock Purdy is going to be late on this throw because he's got to step up with the pressure, okay? That's just an element to playing quarterback. I get it. I'm not blaming the protection on this one, okay, because he still has a chance to make the throw, but this is an element. If he can just plant his feet and make this throw, maybe it's not an interception. But first thing, he's got to step up around it. So now he's throwing it on the run. Even with all of that being said, right, you expect an NFL quarterback to still make this throw, okay? So now we're going to look at it. We throw it. Same sort of thing happens here, is that he's a little bit behind, obviously a little bit late, but a little bit behind, okay? So he's late. What does the corner do? Corner is driving underneath it. And the thing about him driving underneath it is you got the goal line. Okay, so as you get closer to the goal line, good corners realize I'm not just going to stay deep. I'm not worried about them throwing it over my head as much as I'm worried about that goal line. And they've got to, drive the football a little bit more in some of these situations. So I'm going to play flatter and underneath it. And so if you leave it short and underneath, look at him. You see him coming at that angle where if you leave it short and underneath, he is going to make a play on the football. This ball is short and underneath, and he makes a play on the football, okay? So the other aspect to this, as we get down into the red zone, because of what I just talked about with these guys, their ability to squat on the ball or squat on the goal line and drive underneath it, what we always say is, as a quarterback, when you're throwing these deep posts down in the red zone, I want it to go up and over, and I want you to throw this towards the back pylon. I'm sorry, towards the back end line. Here, we want this to go up and over because if guys are sitting and squatting at the goal line, okay, we don't want them to be able to drive because they understand that it's hard to get it up and down, right? It's hard to get them over the top of them, but as a quarterback, we say our guy or nobody. So when you get down into the red zone, I want this ball up and over towards the back end line. We want it to be about 2 or 3 yards from the back end line. So it's our guy or nobody. And if our guy gets it, it's catch, tap, tap, and we go. All right. So if Brock steps up and just lays this over the top, like I'm talking about, just lay it over the top. Okay. Then I believe this is a touchdown. Why? Because the corner is undercutting this. And so he's not going to be able to get up over the top. But we throw this a little bit flatter. We throw it more at him. We're a little bit behind and a little bit late. And boom, we've got interception number 2. Neither one is a bad decision, but both are intercepted because timing, okay, throw position, being a little bit late, at where we want to put the football, when we want to lay the football out there, and giving the DB the chance to undercut, break on it, and have 5 or 6 steps out of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps out of it to break on it, use his speed, and make a play. All right, and then this last one. And I know a lot of people talked about this last one. It's kind of a similar type play here where we're going to run an inside or influence post. They're going to run a go on the outside, okay? And then they're going to run an in by their number 2. So naturally, the in throw by number 2 is going to be a little bit tighter than the first play that we saw in here, where I said 2 to 3 yards inside the numbers. This one's probably going to be a little bit tighter on the throw because we're coming from the number 2 spot, so we never get the width that we would have on an outside in. Okay, so that's the first thing we have to understand. But as we look at that, this dude right here is the guy that intercepts this throw. And so sometimes as we talk, sometimes it's just great defense that creates the interception. With this influence post here coming to this side, I would never expect J.C. Horn to be able to intercept this number 2 guy running the in route on the other side. And as a matter of fact, when I know that I've got, I think it's George Kittle, but whoever this tight end is back here, running a shallow route, when I come out on these types of plays, the first thing I do is I peek backside. I peek backside to A, see if I'm going to have this influence that's circled, but to see what happens with the backside guys, because I know we're leaving. We're not grabbing him with anything because we're leaving and going to the other side with the tight end. So I look back here just to see, will I get the big play? So like if J.C. Horn chases George Kittle over to that side, and then I'm thinking, man, I got a shot at this influence post on the backside because there's nobody else left. But once I hold him and I look at him and I know he's staying back there, then I can go ahead and work to the front side. Okay, so even to right here, okay, where Brock Purdy is set, he set his feet. And J.C. Horn is 3 yards inside the numbers on the other side of the field. I mean, this is craziness that he even makes this interception. Now, I'm going to say, again, I think Brock is late on this one, okay, because as we come out, what we're going to read is these guys right here, okay, whichever one is the hook defender. There's kind of 2 of them there, okay. We got a guy coming over here in Christian McCaffrey. So it's simply just a high-low, okay. Do those guys get enough depth where I got to throw it underneath? Or are they flat-footed? Are they parallel to the line of scrimmage where I feel like I can get the ball over the top? Okay? And so right there, I'm 100% with Brock Purdy. These guys have both stopped their feet right there. This guy, as he turns the corner, is 8 yards behind them. Brock can definitely do this. I know I could definitely do this. Get this ball up and over, no problem. Okay? No problem. So we play through it. Boom. I mean, J.C. Horn, just a phenomenal job of route recognition, understanding what's going on, and then making a play. The other thing that I would say is I still think Brock lets this throw come too far over, okay? So let's get to the top of the route. And, okay, I like this right here. So this is Pearsall right here. He puts his foot in the ground there at the 49-yard line, okay? Oh, maybe not. Maybe one. Okay, one more. Okay, so we're going to put it right there. Now, I think he does a pretty nice job of keeping this tighter here, like we were talking about the other one. You see how tight he is and turning and trying to stay flat to the quarterback. But, again, to me, this is a ball out right now. You know, we would always say when we're throwing in routes, doesn't matter which one, it was 7 steps, it was 1 hitch, and the ball's out. Okay? So 1 hitch is important. 1, 2. 2 hitches. Now the ball is right there on the hash again. Boom. And the interception. 1 hitch it. Let it go. Right there. Let it go. Get the ball out and hit this over between the hash and the numbers. Is where we want it. Don't want to get it into the hash. Okay? All of those different things that we could say. But of all the things that I'm going to say with all of that, here's what, and I know people won't fully understand this. I can't see this guy if I'm the quarterback. Like, there is no way for me to know J.C. Horn is coming, okay? We can talk about what a quarterback can see, and no quarterback sees all 11 guys on the field, okay? When we've got a concept that is supposed to be on the right side of the field, and if I throw the ball on the right side of the field or with the proper timing, you know, this guy on the backside isn't even in our vision. We're not even thinking about him. He's not even a consideration. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen this type of play by a cornerback before. To be outside, 3 yards inside the numbers when Brock Purdy is ready to throw this thing and he comes and makes this interception. But there's just no way for us to see him. And so the only thing that we can do and point to right here is Brock might have taken an extra hitch because he's like, oh, geez, I'm going to take an extra hitch to get those guys to jump up on Christian, and then I'm going to have a huge window back behind. And I can't fault him for that. Although we do talk about timing and we talk about position and, hey, we can never throw this ball or complete it, anywhere, blah, 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 whatever that is. 3 yards outside the hash is as tight as we can throw this. I don't know what it is on this inside in for these guys. But for me, it would be halfway between the hash and the numbers is what I would shoot for on this play. But I would also shoot for 1 hitch, get the ball out, just because I don't want to get too far into the middle where there are extra bodies and possibilities of bodies coming from the backside. But never this guy. This is the guy that I would worry about more than anything. If we're running this and somebody's going to steal this in, I would say it would have to be number 21 right here. And I get 21 to go. So I get him to go. I'm not really worried about anybody on the backside. I'm expecting that backside guy to hold back there. And JC just does a phenomenal job. Yes, might be a little bit late on the throw. No question about it. Anticipate, let it go. Something that Brock's been really, really good at. But, even being a tick late, I would never in a million years tell you that this backside corner could steal this in route. So maybe a little bit of bad football there, a little bit of bad quarterback, or again, I don't even want to say bad, delayed quarterback play right there that could have avoided that. But more than anything, that is great football on the defensive end. And sometimes interceptions are the result of great defense more than bad quarterback play.